Welcome to Categoryst Magazine. We can be found on the web at www.categoryst.com. My name is Jason JROCK Houston. Our special guest today is Doro guitarist Tommy Bolan. How are you doing today, Tommy?
Doing good, Jason. Good to be here, man. How's everything going with you?
It's going great. Now, I'm going to tell you a real funny story to kind of kick this off. Now,
Go for it.
When your publicist reached out to me and we set up the interview, I immediately went to find your Facebook page and had a little bit of difficulty. And so I was kind of, luckily you reached out to me and wanted to, you found my page first. And so I was curious, do you ever have problems with people like finding you?
Honestly, no. I mean, it just depends if you put just Tommy Bolan, B-O-L-A-N.
Well, here's a problem I had. I was just kind of curious if other people have had this. Because like I spell your name correctly, which is A-N. And of course, if other Tommy Bolan comes up, you know, who was it?
That sometimes Google will flip that sometimes on it, you know?
Yeah.
But if you scroll down far enough, you will start to see pictures of me, or it'll say, did you mean which way to search? It'll say you got to clarify that. But even when if you search that, it flips over to IN, you will find me eventually at the end.
I found a lot of stuff. On you on YouTube. So you're all over there. So that's great. Anyways, of course, why we're talking today is Doro's about ready to release the anniversary. It's a special edition of Triumphant Agony Live, and you guys did that at Sweden Rock Fest. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was recorded at Sweden Rock. I think they used part of Spain as well. And it was great. That was the first time coming back to play with Doro in so many years. Because Triumphant Agony, playing back with her in the day was such a magical thing, and a big part of my life. I mean,
of course.
The beginning of definitely was a crossroads in my life. And me and Doro always remained friends. And she called me up, all those years later and said, "Hey, I'm thinking of you want to get together and play for the anniversary." And we did, and it was just like we played some songs we never even played, like "Make Time for Love."
And what is this, like the 35th anniversary of that?
Right, yeah. Next year's actually 35. So we'll be going into that with the 35th.
Okay.
But that was the 30th. That was actually at 30th we recorded it. At the 2017 when that was recorded. So, but yeah, so that's the anniversary of that. And it's just it's amazing as the fan has endured. The album has endured so long with the fans. They've been so supportive of it, and I still get talked about that all the time. It's just it's a great honor to be part of it, no doubt.
And let me ask you, because I seen an interview that you did with somebody that I found on YouTube, and you were talking about what a huge Kiss fan you are. So
yes.
I was curious, how did you first get into Kiss? Was it have anything to do with being from New York? And
well, definitely from New York. They're from the same neighborhood as me, as Queens. I'm from right there in Queens, New York. But my brother, who owned the stereo, pretty much he came home with some Kiss records, and I just told, it's funny, I just did some interview, somebody asked me my top 5 albums. I named Kiss Alive 1 as one of them.
Wow.
And it gave me the idea, just got under my skin to want to be a performer and play, and I dug the music a lot. It was just got bitten by the whole bug, and the theatrics of it, dug everything they did, and just forget about it. Here's
a strange question for you, because I know a lot of people have this story, and it's my story too as far as being a Kiss fan. Being a Kiss fan, especially back then, was quite unique because a lot. Like, I was curious, like when you became a fan, did it have a lot to do with the image and the look? Like because I know when you're younger, it's like.
Oh yeah, I love the image of Kiss. And matter of fact, these photos have never been published. Eventually, everyone keeps telling me either write a book or put them out. But I did like a fake Kiss show when I was a kid. Like I got all my friends dressed up, makeup and all this. I did Gene Simmons. I didn't even play guitar then. This is like right before I started playing guitar. But I was just so drawn to it. I cut out cardboard guitars. And the pictures of me, I'm playing lefty, which Simmons was a righty.
Yeah.
I'm actually a righty. And I put on my mother's boots, painted the face. I went to Baskin Robbins for the empty ice cube fucking bins, and I made those the drum set. We painted that, taped it together. We came out and just jumped on like a bunch of maniacs to a live one. But we actually sold tickets to everyone in the neighborhood.
I heard that. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because that's the very interview I seen you talking about that.
Yeah, we sold tickets and the whole thing, and it was just and that was the beginning of then like 2 weeks later, I decided to start taking lessons at the very place where I was later to be a guitar teacher. I took lessons there for 2.5 years, and then I excelled so quick, and the guitar became so part of me. I was so into just being a performer. I became a teacher 2.5 years later there.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Right after the time I joined Warlock.
I was going to say, so were you ever a bass player first, and then you?
No, I was always a guitar player.
Okay.
I just picked Gene Simmons. Matter of fact, I didn't even know how many strings even on the guitar. I might have painted 5 strings on the cardboard guitar. I have no idea.
Oh,
I copied Kiss Alive 1, and I made cardboard cuts of the guitars for everybody in the band. My friend played Paul Stanley. My other friend played Ace. and I did Gene, and the drummer, basically, was a bunch of Baskin-Robbins ice cube things, empty ice cube tubs taped together, looking like a drum set, with a round circular thing for a bass drum.
That's interesting because I've been a Kiss fan for years since I was a kid, and Gene's always been my favorite character. I don't know if it's his personality, the look, the fact that he's a demon. He spits blood, he breathes fire, he kind of does everything. And I was reading in one of their books where very early on, like when they were first starting out, they were first kind of just getting their makeup designs in order. They were at a photo shoot, and Gene was kind of he just started sticking his tongue out one day, they said, apparently, and the photographer just was kind of snapping all these photos of him, and Paul was kind of getting pissed, like, hey, what are you doing? He's like, hey, well, the photographer's noticing what I'm doing, and so figure it out.
I heard that. I mean, it's definitely possible. You never know.
Yeah, and so who knows? But in reference to Alive being your favorite album, makes sense. A lot of people kind of say that about Kiss Alive 1 now. I was curious. Years later, it came out that, they go back in the studio and they fix some stuff. But it doesn't really matter to me. You know why? Because to me, even if they went and fixed it up, it sounds live to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Live was just a great record. I mean, I love the whole packaging of it all. You get double disc and, just so cool. They put the notes inside.
Those were the days. The
crowd and the front cover, just like, holy shit, they're on fire. Check that out. And, just the energy was just conveyed, even just in the pictures. I'm old school. I like vinyl. That's why I'm so cool. It's so cool how Doro's issuing this with vinyl, cassette,
I bet.
DVD, Blu-ray, collectible stuff, getting actual. That's really great that she's able to do all that with this record and, go full tilt for the fans.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say because, I'm an old school guy too. I miss going to the record stores and spending hours in there and,
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, kids today, they don't know what they're missing. And what I think's cool about this new release, like you said, back in the 70s, they had a thing called, Sound and Vision where, this is, I mean, so you're not just getting an audio CD, you're getting a video of it, to kind of watch, which I think makes it that such a cool package,
Oh yeah, that's a nice bonus to have now in this day and age with that, so it's really cool. I mean, like I said, the show was magic. It was the first time back, playing some of the songs we had never played before, like, even when I toured the Triumph and Agony, we did tours back then with Dio and Megadeth and across America. We even played shows in America with, Crocus and we had, and then we had like Lillian Axe and Fates Warning on some of the shows. Really great times, and
yeah.
And to come back, well, we never played Make Time for Love, A Kiss of Death, and then we put them into the set, and then then we did Norway Rock, we did some American shows, Spain, Grass Pop, Leyendas de Rock in Spain. So it was some serious chemistry. Then I came back and I even played on Forever Warriors. I played some of the guitar at All for Metal. I did the song If I Can't Have You, No One Will. Me and Doro had written that together with Johan from Amon Amarth, and he sang on it. And then I even played on the song Turn It Up.
Wow.
And some of the lyrics in that. And then I also, that's me singing at the end of that. If you listen to the end, that's me singing, the outro part, which is cool. So there's been a lot. The chemistry came back. It's like, the minute Doro's very big in the vibe. And we always had a great chemistry. We remained friends. And it was almost like coming home again. Just like we picked up right where we left off. And she's got a great band with great guys. So it was just like, very welcoming situation, very cool. So, so she's already got a great, bunch of people around her and great management.
And I found it interesting, too, that a lot of people, I think that they can sense that chemistry that's between you and Doro. I mean, for the simple fact, I remember when the publicist set up interview I did with Doro and then this one, and he sent out the press photos and press package and everything, and there's that famous photo of you, kind of carrying her, and
oh yeah,
and so and I guess what I'm kind of making a point of it, it's not a picture of Doro with the drummer or other members of the band. I think people can kind of have honed in that you and her kind of got that chemistry.
Yeah, we always had that great chemistry, and especially as this is celebrating Triumph and Agony, it's on point for a picture like that, because it's about Triumph and Agony, which of course I did all the guitars on that, the lead guitars and the rhythm guitars, and pretty much, I was, if you might have seen the article that just came out in Decibel, it even talks about that and, a lot of the making of the record. So there was a lot of magic, on that record, and, and Doro, used to get on my shoulders every night. So if you see the pictures from back in the day, I can always tell you that was the third song, because that's when the photographer stayed in the pit all the way up to the third song. And then that was always at the end of Earthshaker Rock. That was always the third song in our set. She would always be on my back. I'd turn sideways, and she would lean back, and I'd come forward. And the one on the video, we did it East Meets West. And I never dropped her any of the times, knock on wood, So, so she's always in great shape, and I always work out. And she, is always a great moment. The fans always dug it. It was just great energy, you know. I mean, that's the biggest thing, is bringing the vibe and the energy, because, you know, Doro really loves her fans and always gives it her all, you know, and as does the whole band. And, you know, me, I'm naturally always working myself into a full lather, flipping the fuck out, so.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I mean, I've seen you in that other interview where you're talking about that, and you're kind of like, you know, sometimes I have to remember, you know, I'm on stage. I kind of just do my thing on stage. I kind of go off, and sometimes I forget, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, you're definitely going to the stratosphere. It's like, you know, Superman coming out of the booth, or friggin' the Hulk turning into, you know, your eyes, my eyes roll back and make it. A lot of times you see pictures of me, you know, I'm either screaming. I mean, I'm screaming in those photos. I'm not just opening my.
Yeah.
Row, you're hearing me scream.
You're full mode.
And I'm losing my shit, and I'm coming unglued, and, you know, my muscles are tensing. And there's one photographer, Sean Sand, his girl Lila. She always sees us play, and I'm always in these. He gets great pictures of me, and suddenly she goes, "Wow, you're really bendy." I go, "Bendy?" I don't realize I'm contorting in these crazy positions and just fucking flipping out. But, you know, you just go completely forward, and, you know, I'm rolling on the floor, and, you know, just the way I play on live is the way I play in the studio, you know? So it's just the energy, and then, like with Doro, it's like magnetism, you know? I magnetize off of her energy, and then the band, you know, brings it, and then next thing you know, I'm fucking off out of my mind, you know? But then that's the energy, that's just, you know, that's just, I never just phone it in, as it were, you know? Some people, you know, and that's, I guess, what's made me be real to myself and real to the situation, you know?
And it's kind of interesting, because being that you're such a Kiss fan, you know, and they're such a theatrical band, and you said that's one of the things that attracted you to Kiss. Now, if anybody sees you performing on stage, like you're saying, you kind of get crazy and all over the place. So I could kind of see, because Kiss, they put on like a big rock show, and
oh, absolutely, yes.
And so you can kind of see that influence, you know, coming out.
Oh yeah, actually, there's a show in Spain next year where Doro's on the bill with Kiss on the same stage, that Priest, and a bunch of other stuff. So that should be a pretty awesome show.
Have you ever met any of the Kiss guys, or?
Oh yes, sure. I had a band years ago, right after Warlock. I had a band called Freight Train Jane with the singer Jamie St. James.
Oh, of course, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I was the lead guitar. Me and Jamie started that band together, and then of course Tommy Thayer was in Black and Blue, and Gene produced that. So, you know, I've met Tommy plenty of times. He's a super cool guy. I'd known Eric Singer years ago. I got introduced to him through Bob Daisley, actually.
Oh, I think
now I'm just dropping names all over the place here.
I think that would probably been around the same time Gene produced one of Doro's solo albums.
After that, and I've met Gene before. He used to, the band Freight Train Jane. Gene used to come to our shows.
Oh, wow.
Tom Wormus at the producers. We had friggin' Motley Crue's attorney. We had friggin' Barbara Streisand's manager. We had so many people behind the band. It was crazy, you know. We were chosen the best unsigned band in the nation by ASCAP. We had the Concrete Form representing them. And Gene would be at our shows. Him, there's Martha Quinn from MTV, and a bunch of people. Boy, now I'm just dropping names like a maniac.
Well, yeah. But I mean, that's
really cool. He came to the shows, and you know, I one night I remember hanging out and playing pool at some place, and then at the NAMM show, he had that Axe bass guitar made. And, that was from Court Guitars. I used to endorse Court before I now endorse Schecter. You know, years ago I played ESPs and Kramers, but mostly with ESP for the longest time. But now I'm with Schecter, who take good care of me and all that. But for a while I was with Court for a couple of years, and Gene was appearing in the booth, and, you know, I saw him there, and, you know, they were making his bass. And so, I mean, obviously, you know, he's Gene Simmons, he's doing his thing, but he's a New Yorker, so there you go.
Yeah, and then, I mean, I got to ask you, what did you think when Jamie went on to, you know, he was briefly in Warrant. What did you think of his stint with Warrant?
Oh, that's fine. Well, Jamie can, he can fit into any band. He's a great singer.
Yeah.
That was cool. I mean, you know, the Warrant guys are cool. I mean, I get along with them whenever I ran into them, and they used to, actually, they one time, I remember one time Warrant the whole band was on the side of the stage. We were playing at a club in Hollywood called Exposure.
Okay.
And we're all set, the whole band to come on. We're going to play rock and roll all night. This is a story I never told.
Oh.
And the whole band's waiting there, Janie, all the dudes, and next thing you know, friggin' the set got cut. I don't know what the fuck happened, but next thing you know, we ended our set, and we told the owner, you know, we had Warrant ready to come on stage. Like, what? I go, well, you know, what are you going to do? But they were cool guys, and Jamie's singing in that, you know, I mean, that's a perfect fit, and now he's, you know, back playing with Black and Blue, which is great, doing that.
Right.
He's always doing music. I mean, he's always, you know, always in the middle of something.
And, you know, another thing I heard in that other interview that you did was, what I think just kind of speaks volumes about your character is that, you know, getting offered to, like, do a gig with Ozzy and then kind of saying, no, I'm going
to clarify that exactly, I said I knew Bob Daisley, and when I just joined Warlock, I remember when I sat there, and I first got told I was in the band, and the manager, he got up, shook my hand, he goes, hey, I don't got a contract with you now, so I hope I don't hear about you playing with Whitesnake next week.
Yeah, wow.
He said that to me. I swear to God, he actually said that to me, and I just, you know, had such a chemistry with Doro. I was brought in, and, you know, as a friend of the producer.
Yeah.
I was living in Manhattan. I was literally living in Manhattan, and Warlock was taking care of everything, and we were recording Triumph and Agony, getting ready to do it, formulating the songs, and suddenly Ozzy was on the radio in Manhattan. He had just let go of Jakey Lee.
Yeah.
He's going, I want an East Coast guitar player. I'm tired of these West Coast guys. I want an East Coast player. He said that, so my phone blew up from all my friends and my family who knew I'd known Bob Daisley. Because I had met Bob Daisley years ago. Of course, he played in the first two Ozzy records, and he wrote, and he even ghost-rided up on many of the other records, as people now know.
Yeah.
And, I wanted to, I wanted to play in a band with him. I was trying to do that before I was even Warlock. So I knew him for years.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was a cool dude. I mean, I've talked to him. And so I figured, well, shit, I could call him, and he could call Ozzy, and I could definitely get an audition at the very least.
Yeah.
And, of course, I play the way I play. There it is. So, if you like the way I play, so I figured he would. But at that point, of course, I would have been betraying everything I promised, and that's not my character.
Yeah.
Doro was, me and Doro had a great chemistry. She was believing in me, and, because Doro came out in a magazine in Metal Hammer. She had just come out in Metal Hammer and said, and this was published in Metal Hammer and Circus, she goes, I play better, I sing better because of Tommy Bolan. He is somebody I really need right now.
Wow.
And that was a big quote. She said that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's heavy, And of course, Joey Bowen was my boy, and I was, he gave me my big break. I'd have been like the son of a bitch of the century, in my opinion. But it was definitely. I had people call me, go, look, I'll bring the tape over there. No one will know. Then my mother mother calls me one day. I'm living in Manhattan. They go, Tommy, what are you gonna do? I go, I'm gonna stay with Warlock. He goes, yeah, your dad said stay with Warlock is the sure thing. That's what my father told me.
Wow, amazing.
So, because I learned so much from my parents, but so I never made the call. And then, of course,
I think I remember hearing you say that your mom and dad were very supportive of you. They'd go to your shows and everything.
Yes, they were. My parents were the greatest friends I ever. My mother would always tell me as I was growing up, "Go, your parents are your best friend." And she goes, "You don't know it now, but you will."
Yeah.
Sure as shit, they were 100% on the right. I was very lucky, man. My parents sat in the couch every night, held hands for 43 years. I've told this story before, and they loved and adored each other. So I imprinted so many of my values, both in relationships, life, business, music, from them, because they were very loving, and I was very lucky because I know a lot of people don't got that.
Yeah. So.
And then, I had a band right before Warlock called Armed Forces, and I remember we were going in the studio. I was just out of high school, literally, and Armed Forces was kind of a known band in New York a little bit, and I was joining it, and I remember Metal Forces magazine, when they heard the album Let There Be Metal, they said, you've just discovered the metal band of the 80s. That's what they said about us.
Wow.
And then, and it was, I'm still friends with the singer Scott, he's in Vegas, and Mike and Joe's a fireman, and Mike's a paramedic, and Steve, I think, is hanging out in New York, so I know all these dudes still, and it's on YouTube somewhere, versions of it, and the story, I guess, to bring my parents into this, my gear, I had good gear. I mean, it was okay gear, but we were going to a studio where I walk in, there's Blois the Colts gear. There's Zebra's gear. There's Joan Jett's gear. And I'm walking in with, good stuff, but nothing near what I needed. So I asked my parents, I wanted to buy a Jackson and some gear, and I asked my parents for, $3,000. Which, back then, that's the money. My parents were blue collar. My father, postman, my mother was a secretary, but my mother was very smart with money. So I remember I was coming down the staircase, and they didn't know I was there, and I heard my father asking my mother, and my father's name is Patrick, and my mother's name is Yolanda, so my father called my mother Yo, and my mother goes, Pat, that's a lot of money. Yeah. And my father said to my mother, and they don't know I heard this, my father goes, Yo, if we don't give him a break, who's gonna? Yeah. And they gave me the money, and I went and bought the Jackson that you saw me play in the Warlock All We Are video.
Oh, wow.
And that guitar, I recorded that album with most of that guitar, some ESPs, and also a Blue Jackson that Doro bought me, Soloist, which got lost in the game of life.
Yeah.
Which I still see pics of it. I got the original build card on that too. Someday I guess I'll go find all the ships that got lost at sea, but who knows?
Yeah.
So my parents, in retrospect, they were the ace, and my father kept a giant Warlock scrapbook of me and all the tour dates. They did all the press. Wow. I mean, he was my parents, they were
very,
fantastic.
very supportive. Wow. And talking about going to the studio there, that early on in your career, and you're seeing all these famous people, who they are, like, Joan Jett and people in Blue Oyster Cult. But were these other people kind of, at that point, they've already kind of made it in the music. They're kind of looking like, who is this guy?
Well, yeah. I walked in, I saw mostly their equipment. I might have seen them leaving or whatever for a split second. But, when Warlock was recording, mean, I was, pretty much, virtually unknown as well. And then suddenly, there's like Cher's upstairs, Michael Bolton's downstairs.
Oh, wow.
Then we were rehearsing next door, so I think it was Cool. When we were rehearsing the tour, we were next door to Cool and the Gang. And then another time we were rehearsing next door to friggin' Grim Reaper, Nick Bocott. He was next door. I thought I became friends with Nick.
Oh, Nick Bocott, yeah. Great guitar player. Great guitar player. Now, now the gig you almost got with Ozzy, what I wanted to ask you about, what did you think when you, back in 19...
Almost got the gig. I never made the phone call.
No, but
I could have made the phone call, and then I could have gotten the audition, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I never chose to even engage to get the audition. I mean, I could have definitely gotten the audition easily if I had called Bob, but I did, in just based on the knowledge I have as the friendship. And but if I had went and auditioned, that would have been the betrayal to Warlock.
Oh yeah, I totally agree.
A fucking disaster.
I totally agree, and the reason I was going to ask a little more about that is, what did you think when you see Ozzy? He fires Jakey Lee, and then he ends up going with this 19-year-old kind of unknown kid from New Jersey, Zach Wild, who...
Well, obviously Zach can play, and Zach
he can.
A lot of the same.
Yeah, he can play, but what I was going to ask is, if you go back and you look at those pictures of Zach, he looks nothing like he does now. He looked like the second...
Well, yeah, his image has definitely changed, I guess. I mean, I'm not one to comment on anyone's image. I mean, you look at my hair back then, I had the 220 bolt cut. My hair to the ceiling, enough hairspray to stop a train.
Yeah.
Now I look like... people have referred to me as a biker hitman the way I look.
But he's definitely...
Double sideburns and the goatee, and I look... And most people... I mean, there was a poster of me once. I did all these guitar clinics for Morley once.
Yeah.
And there was a poster of me that they hung up in San Ash. I did all the Florida San Ashes for Morley and everything.
Wow.
And I showed up, and there's this picture of me they had up. And I walk in, I'm used to, I got my handler, and I got a rider. And suddenly I noticed people are walking away from me, or they're really short with me. And I'm like... So then I finally get one of the employees, and I start talking. This is the God's honest truth.
Yeah.
I start talking to them, and she starts talking to me, and she goes, then after like a few minutes talking, the person goes, wow, you're really nice. I go, what? He goes, you're really a nice guy. I go, why? What did you hear? I mean, what's the story? And they goes, oh, we saw this picture. You look like a mean son of a bitch. You're going to kick all our asses. I go, what? They thought because of the photo, I was coming in there to fucking wreck the joint.
Talk about like prejudging. Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I love to laugh and have a good time as much as anybody, but I guess on stage, I don't know, maybe I look like Saint or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. The point I was bringing up about Zach is, not just his image and his transformation. It is what it is, but like. It's like two polar opposites, and then he's a super talented guy. Because the other point I was going to bring up is, if you go and look at those Black Label albums he's put out with his band, I mean, he's a great singer, he's a great piano player, just a great musician, a songwriter. A lot of those albums, he does most of the instruments except for the drumming.
Right.
And then he has different guys come and do the live shows with him.
Oh, yeah. Well, I have my own band as well called NYC, which I sing in front.
Oh, wow.
I haven't done much with it lately because
Doro's...
when I was getting ready to do some stuff with it, we had a lot of good shit going on. I had some stuff going on in my life that stopped me for a second, then suddenly I started playing with Richie Ramone. I did his comeback record.
Oh, wow.
The Ramones. I did his album Untitled, and we toured down in South America, and then we toured over in Australia. We played at the ANZ Stadium. We were on the same bill with Aerosmith and Van Halen, and the album was getting a lot of buzz. And we did some shows with, I think, Buck Terry in Melbourne, and they were on that stadium tour as well, that stadium show. So that took me off the grid. Then suddenly, shortly after that, I started working on the new record. Then Doro called me, and then, I kind of put it aside. But I'm the singer of that band. I fronted, and pretty much at this point, it's just me. I'm going to find a bass player and a drummer to go do it with me. I started the band originally, and I brought in my best friend Chaz, and pretty much, me and him just went out of our minds trying to push that through the roof, and we came close to a lot of things, and I'm still friends with him, but to say that he's one of my best friends, but at this point now it's just I've been focusing so much on Doro stuff, and then I had a side project called Bonsai, the bass player for Richie Ramone. My friend, one of my other great friends is JROCK, and he does like his own Jiro band, which is like this punk stuff, and he goes down to South America and tours with CJ Ramone. But the band Bonsai is different kind of rock stuff, shredding and playing, and he sings in it as I sing in it. And we had the drummer from Accept play on most of it, Christopher Williams. He played on the majority of the album. And we were actually going to go tour on that whole lineup.
Wow.
But then I don't know what the fuck happened. But, it's still an option. There's a lot of good options, and, I'm grateful for that.
So,
but,
see, here's the cool thing with that, Tommy, is like, okay, and I think everything kind of works out the way it's meant to in life, I think the fact that you've been loyal to Doro, and then you kind of, you get this other offer, but you decide, and even at your dad's kind of suggestion, I think you need to stick with Warlock. It's all kind of panned out for you the way it's supposed to, and it's kind of funny. You're back with Dora.
Yeah, it is quite awesome to be back. bit. When people have asked me, goes, "What's it like?" I go, "It's like coming home again."
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a very emotional thing. That was a big thing. This album, meant to. I always wished. I wonder, what me and Doro might have done in all those years that we weren't together doing stuff. I'll think of that from time to time. But in the same sense, I always look to the future, and and she's got, and now she has a great team behind her, a great band. So it's a lot of great energy moving forward, and now with this record coming forward and all the plans coming on, it's so in motion. It's like I jumped back onto a moving train,
So next, once you guys get past Triumph and Agony, there's planned to do another studio album with her. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's a studio album she's got going, and I'm sure I'll make some noise on that, and then obviously wait to see what the touring situation is and all that. COVID and the madness and the lockdown, and there's always some new variant or whatever the hell. So
yeah.
Once this shit levels out and it becomes just like people just need like a flu shot to avoid it, and then and when it gets down a level, right now it's still pandemonium. I think I just saw more tours. Gene Simmons has COVID right now. He just got in, so it's there. So they fried a few dates, and they're picking up the ball rolling. So hopefully, they were all vaccinated.
And of course, so many people have known you for being, the guitar player in Warlock for many years, and then you left for a while and you went and did your own thing. But what's that like, Tom? You go from being like, playing these big gigs with Doro, kind of as a sideman, and then you go and do your own kind of solo projects, and you're up there not just as a guitar player, but as a frontman, the lead singer. All eyes are kind of on you. What's that like?
It's a definitely different thing. I mean, luckily, it's I've been lucky to keep my contacts in business wise. It's very much a business. People ask me that all the time.
Yeah.
And I do guitar players. What's the best advice I can say? I said, well, find musicians, make them your friends, start a band. But remember, it's a business, because I work with a lot of sources, and I kept my connections open. I always tell people here about me, not from me, and I pride myself in what I believe I have as a good reputation out there. I mean, there's always somebody who's not going to like what you do or whatever the case, and that's just the way it is. There's always some internet troll on the keyboard who's going to talk shit. But that's just part of the gig. But it was definitely different going from Warlock. Then Freight Train Jane came very close, and I always put my heart into everything. And my band NYC, we had a lot of great momentum with a lot of great people on the phone ready to do shit. But it's the industry is a little weird. It's almost like Clint Eastwood said in Unforgiven: "Deserves got nothing to do with it." Sometimes it's all who you know or what the case is. Got to be good from the get go, and and I just always kept my head to the ground and kept hammering away. I mean, it's it's a lot of work. It's always great to have a great team behind you. It was a different thing.
Now, in regards to that, I was curious. Like, I know if people want to find out about you, may go on your personal Facebook page and go to Doro.com or whatever to find out about what you're doing with Doro. But for all these other projects you're mentioning, where's the best place to go to find out about all that?
The best place, usually on my Instagram and my Facebook page, is the same thing, Tommy Bolan Official.
Okay.
And then, of course, if you just go to TommyBolan.com, there's a lot of stuff up there with, which actually just defaults to a Reverb Nation page. But that shows you, some of what I've done with NYC. I've not even updated that page in a while. There's pictures and ads I've been in.
So I was going to ask you about NYC. Is that still an active project, or?
It is an active project as far as for me, yes. I do have people waiting for me to put the next record out, and obviously now with, some of the new stuff I've been doing with Doro and Warlock, that definitely opens up a lot more doors, even more, to be absolutely honest, But, that's still, my solo project, which at the moment I'm still calling it NYC, is definitely still a viable project. I got people waiting for that record to be done. I've written so many songs, and I have a lot of people waiting to hear it. So I got some, friends of mine who are in the business, other drummers or bassists, people you would know if I said their name. They're willing to play on it as well. And I got, so I got a lot of good opportunities. Just, this whole COVID lockdown has been a real surreal time. I've been, just by myself, and where I got into more working out than anything and working on songs, and
that's good.
Machines in my house and just went bananas.
That's good to hear. Now, I was going to say, once NYC really, when it gets to that point to start kind of really doing some of that again, I'd love to do another interview with you and kind of really
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you got my number for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And,
all good.
And it's really enjoyed talking to you today, Tommy, kind of getting to know you. But let me ask you, when I interviewed Doro, I tell you, not only is she just a real sweetheart, as you know, but talking to her, I tell you, just having a conversation with her, she has such there's such enthusiasm, just her speaking and everything.
Absolutely. I get asked that. I've been asked the question point blank. Is she as nice as she seems? I go, probably nicer.
No, I was going to say not just that. I'm sure she is, but like
her enthusiasm is real for the music, the passion for the project she does. She puts her heart into everything. She's very big on
like I've had the chance to interview her twice, and she was like that both times. And it not only does it seem real, but it's funny because I've only talked to her over phone. I've never met her in person, but I feel like that it's somebody I know. You know what I mean?
She will do that when you talk to her because she's the real deal, man.
And it's not like infectious.
She's pure metal. She's pure music.
Yeah, it's infectious, and that's the other thing I was going to say. It's amazing because you look at her and she's such a little thing, but then like I was watching that live video that you guys have out for All We Are,
right.
and first of all, that's a great track. But I think overall that's my favorite Warlock track for the simple fact that's the very kind of first song that introduced me to Warlock. Like a lot of people,
cool.
It's got such great energy. But you look at like what a little thing she is, and I tell you, she's just so dynamic on stage. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, I mean her voice is like an air raid sign. I've never seen her voice even go out. I mean it's like and she's got so much energy on stage, and like she infects everyone with the energy in all the positive ways. Like I said, I magnetize off of her. I mean, if you listen even to the Triumph and Agony album, I'm playing off her voice, and like I Rule the Runes. I mean, I'm sitting there, she's singing, she's saying, felt one hand of the devil's breeze. My guitar goes, like answering the devil, or Rescue Me. My guitar cries, answering her back. I mean, East Meets West, I'm answering all the stuff, and that's very much a lot of push and go. I mean, even there's just so much, she's just the real deal. Like they say in New York, the real deal. Forget about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So of course, the Triumph and Agony is going to come live. Is going to come out on September 24th, and it's coming out on her label. And there's a couple different formats, like you mentioned. There's vinyl. That's a cool thing. Going to be even cassette. She was telling me version. CD and DVD, Blu-ray.
Buttons, a figurine, a giant cardboard, because when we first put out Triumph and Agony, the original, there's this giant cardboard cutout, which I heard had legs, but I never saw it, but it was a giant one. You might have seen pictures of Doro, and the bottom would open up like I guess technically her belly area, and now become a picture disc of us, and the other side was the Warlock.
Wow.
And that supposedly went right into the Guinness Book of World Records as the largest record sleeve, a retail record or something.
Yeah.
And the one she's got is literally taller than her.
And in the little press kit I got about the album, all those great photos and stuff, and there's also like a picture of this blue guitar. Is that like a replica of the one you're saying she bought you?
That is, the blue guitar is in her merch shop. That's a replica of based on the one I play live, because I have to check the guitar.
Now that's not an actual guitar, because I seen that's like.
No, that's a real guitar that plays. The one she sells in her merch shop. That's
okay. That's what I was going to ask, if it was an actual.
That thing plugs in shreds, man.
Oh, okay.
That thing's got tone. That's a Schecter bass guitar wrapped by my friend at Inzane Decals.
Wow.
And my best friend Doug, he assembles them, and then it's got Tone Pros bridge, Draft Tech locking machine heads, Apex strings, Dunlop strap locks. It's fully loaded. That you could go right from out of the box to the stage, because the whole guitar is disassembled and reassembled completely to wrap it like that, because that's what I use as well. Insane Skins makes these great wraps, and you may even see I have a Forever Warriors one with that wrap. My NYC one is wrapped as my NYC band logo in pictures. And then there's even a Morley wah-wah pedal, which is that's actually baked and painted on it. That's a customized circuit that Morley made for me, because I'm very good friends with the guys at Morley, and they're great supporters of mine. Actually, they gave me a nickname. They call me a COP, K-O-P, King of Promotion. If I'm using it, I'm talking about it. Now sells that in our merch shop, and it's got the Triumph and Agony logo baked onto it. And there's a very limited amount of those left, and that's a very limited item, but it's out there.
I was curious, have you ever been featured in the pages of like Guitar World magazine or anything like that?
That's a funny thing you mentioned. Guitar Player did something on me once, a big full-page thing where they talk about me and my monitor system and how I used to run my effects. But for some reason, I've been in ads in all these magazines. I've been in Guitar. I've been in full-page ads for Morley, Court, and I used to endorse Guitar Wheel, a lot of stuff. If you go to TommyBolan.com, you'll see a lot of my old ads.
I seen those ads, but like I was asking.
I was in Digitech ads with me, Slipknot, and a bunch of other people, and but for some reason I said, there's much press you would think. In these magazines, so that's or at least an interview I would think. But I mean, Triumph and Agony sold 6 million or so, and
that's why I'm kind of asking. I would, and see, it's kind of amazing, because like I said, I was actually surprised. I wasn't surprised that Doro's out doing interviews for us, but when the publisher says, "Hey, Tommy's doing interviews too, if you're interested," I said, "Yeah, sure." In fact, I always loved it. Of course, who doesn't want to interview Doro if you get the chance? But the thing is, I always in any band love to talk to more than just the front man or the guitar player. I love to talk to any member of a band, because I figure everybody kind of brings something to the table. But again, I think that speaks volumes that the publicist thinks enough to put you out there as well to do some of these interviews.
Well, I'm ready. if I'm sitting, I mean, I'm selling the best product I know. I'm selling myself, and I believe in it. And obviously, if I'm talking about Warlock and Doro, it's nothing but fucking top shelf all the way. So, you know,
and see, for me,
I'm definitely all for it. Even like when I did the, you know, I just, you know, I have a lot of people, you know, I guess on the team that, you know, that just believe what I'm doing. Like, hell, shit, Tascam just took out a full-page Agony and Decibel magazine for that article we just did.
And I hope with, you know, the new Triumph and Agony live CD and Blu-ray coming out and everything, I hope that there's going to be more articles on you, because the cool thing to me, like even interviewing and getting to know you today, is that, oh, okay, so this is that guy Tommy Bolan that's played with Doro all these years. Oh, he's finally get out there, and I hope there will be more articles on you, because
appreciate that, thank you.
Because that's pretty cool if there is. And again, you know, like I said, the top interview, you know, you're not Tommy Bolan from Deep Purple. He sadly sadly died, but yeah, this is the current Tommy Bolan, and I think it's cool that your name is spelled differently. But
well, yeah, that's my real name. That's my family name. That's 100%. Anybody who's ever asked me that is my father's name. That's my grandfather's name.
Of course, that's your
going all the way back to friggin' Ireland for that one. I'm Irish Italian, you know. So. But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, Tommy, the other Tommy one, he had a brother named John. I got a brother named John. So
wow.
You know,
yeah.
And I know people who've known his family and all this. And actually, a long time ago, someone did a review. It was one of those guitar magazines. You asked about Guitar Press. Someone did. I think it was the Guitar for the Practice Musician when that magazine was out.
Yeah.
They did a review of that other Tommy Bolan's album, Teaser, but they put my picture.
Wow.
And people are writing and going, wait a second, that's Tommy Bolan from Warlock.
See, that's what I'm talking about going online. You got to know what.
My ESP guitar and all this, and people flipped out. And I'm like, somebody goofed.
Well, I mean, you got to remember too. Like, before you do stuff like that, you got to really know what you're talking about. I mean, for one thing, I mean, I know a little more because I'm a Deep Purple fan, but
sure.
like, you know, but like Tommy Bolan died when he was 25 years old, you know, really young. And if anybody looks at you, you know, he didn't have a beard or anything or any facial.
Yeah. I mean, I don't look anything like him.
Yeah. That's
and I didn't, you know, shit. I mean, that's he died in 76. The Purple guy.
Yeah.
So I mean, anybody. I mean, I've had people walk up to me at the NAMM show. They go, hey, I knew your brother and this and that and blah blah.
No. The difference.
I go, the person you're referring to, unfortunately, sir, has passed away.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, I'm being, you know, polite in this town. I'm not a fucking asshole about it, but
no,
you know,
yeah.
I did a guitar clinic once. I did a guitar clinic once in Denver, and some chick started freaking out, yelling in the crowd, "You're not Tommy Bolan. You're not Tommy. You're a great player, but you're not." And she wrote me this note, this that.
Yeah.
To drag this lady out. She was screaming at me, saying I was using the wrong name and this that. And I got this. I still have it. I could send you a picture of it. On this cocktail app, she wrote, you know, "You're a great player, but you're not Tommy Bolan. Get your own name." And I'm like, I go, what?
Say, lady, look at the spelling. Do you know how to spell that?
Yeah, and they had to drag her out of the place I was doing the clinic.
Wow, that's.
She was coming unglued.
Yeah.
Just interrupting. I mean, just like. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe she had one too many to drink,
and who knows?
And maybe she was friends with him and all that. And I respect all that, and you know, definitely. But you know, to start shouting me out, obvious I'm not him.
Yeah.
That is my name. So
yeah.
You know, I say that with all respect to him, and anybody who's a fan is.
Well, even
in New York, I'm not talking out of the side of my neck.
Even the music is drastically different. You know, I mean, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, you don't need a slide rule to figure this one out.
Yeah. You know, and talking about the guitar clinics that you've done over years, what do you enjoy about that the most? Because see, usually a guy that does like guitar clinics, I mean, he's got to be a real technical player, which you obviously are. I mean, when you're that kind of guy that does a guitar clinic, you really are able to show off your skills, and so I imagine you could be one of those guys, Tommy, like you're saying, that could go and, like a lot of these guitar players, just put out like an instrumental guitar shredder type of album, but I think it's cool that you write your own music, you sing. It gives the music a little more flair, if you know what I mean.
Well, yeah, I've had opportunities to do some instrumental stuff, and I don't mind, shredding like that. I mean, when I would do a clinic, usually it's Morley's one of my major sponsors.
Yeah.
There'll be a clinic time with Morley, then I'll tie in some of my other companies with it, so it's like, doing the giveaway stuff, I'm making an event, I get up there, I shred, I talk, I answer some questions, I demo, I talk about some of the products, and, I get asked Q&A and all that stuff. I remember I did one clinic down in Florida, at this guy David Hibbs had a store down there. He's like a cool dude, and it was also a teaching place. It was like 120 people. It was crazy, and all these family and kids and all this stuff. And it was actually, I think they sold, like, it was part of the ESP and all. They sold like a whole bunch of ESP guitars while I was playing.
Wow.
That's a really great scenario. I mean, sometimes you don't always get that, but it was great to work with the company to bring it to the next level, and you talk about the product. I mean, that's my race car.
Yeah.
And as you probably much figured out by now, I'm an over-caffeinated New Yorker, and I got no problem talking and telling you.
No. Yeah.
So, to put me in a forum where I'm going to be answering questions and playing and working myself into a full lather, as I say, then that's an ideal situation.
And how do you feel when people come up to you and they want to take a photo or something?
Oh, I'm all for that. I'm humbled by that. I mean, that to me is like, outstanding. I mean, the fact they want to pick. I mean, that's I'm here because of them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's a great honor in that sense.
Yeah.
And I feel, hey, if you dig them doing that much, then absolutely.
I'll tell you a funny story, Tom. That could go one of two ways as far as you being a guy that likes to talk a lot. As you can see, I got the same problem, but I'll tell you. I'm not going to say the guy's name, but he's a pretty well-known guitar player, and I was interviewing this guy once, and it was like picking, I was asking questions, and it was kind of just a way, it was like the worst interview I did in the sense that the guy was just like, yes, no, yes, no.
I bet you I could guess who that is, but I won't say it on the air.
Yeah. And so after a while, I was like, okay, thank you for thank you for calling. But
you get somebody who's got the personality of a dial tone or the IQ of a carrot, or they have no, they just got an attitude before they get in. I remember once, when Warlock was on tour in the Triumph and Agony story for you in Scotland.
Okay.
In November, I just told this story on another interview I just did, so this is a cool story.
Okay.
We pulled up to the arena and we were playing with Dio. We were on. This was the Triumph and Agony tour. It was freezing. It's November. It's like 20 degrees out, and these, the bus couldn't get through the double, gates, like these metal gates, like a schoolyard type gate. So the bus stops short of that by 20, 30 feet, whatever. Then these two security guards come on. These guys the size of refrigerators, big motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And they go, hey, look, we got to get you guys in. These kids have been out, but there's a couple hundred kids been here since like 10 o'clock in the morning, waiting to meet you guys. And like, wow, that's commitment. Holy shit, it's freezing.
Yeah.
So then we get through it, and obviously we got security, and you got to be sign a couple autographs as we go, and and obviously you got people, some people get out of hand, they get over excited, and I respect that, but they got to get Doro in safely, obviously, and we're all getting in. So suddenly we're getting in, and suddenly I'm the last guy going through the gate, and the gate's shutting, and suddenly I hear all the I'm walking with the security, I'm the last guy in, I hear all the kids put their hands in the fence, and they go, oh, and I turn around, I go, what? Someone not getting an autograph? And then I got all their attention. So now I'm addressing them, and look, I'm not saying this like I'm the king of the world talking, but
no.
So I start walking towards them. I go, somebody not getting an autograph? Then the security guard goes to me, dude, what are you doing? I go, come with me. I walk out into the crowd of them in freezing weather and signed all their autographs for like 20 plus minutes.
Yeah.
Signed them all. And they were like, wow, this is so cool. We can't believe you stopped. And I said, hey, I'm here because of you. I'm a fan. I'd have lost my shit if Kiss had stopped and noticed me. I'm not saying they're losing their shit and I'm comparing myself to Kiss. But obviously these people are fans and they're wearing the Warlock shirts and they're holding the Triumph and Agony album. So, we're doing something right here.
Yeah.
So I said, hey, when I get introduced tonight, let me hear you. And because each night Doro would introduce each member of the band. And, you say on guitar or on bass. And normally I would get a certain response, which is always cool. And then suddenly she said on guitar, Tommy Bolan. Something like 20 rows in the upper deck went up and screaming like all these kids. And I looked over me going, what the fuck? And like it was a great feeling because they were like, just it was good stuff.
Yeah, like you're people, you've arrived, so to speak.
Exactly. Yeah, I just like I said, I appreciate anybody who digs what we do.
Yeah.
And if they reflect that by either going to the show, buying a concert ticket, or whatever the case, or buying an album, or just being a fan of the band, and I'm appreciated and humbled by that. And Triumph and Agony's endured this long, which is why it's coming back as a live record by just the fans just love it that much, which is fucking outstanding because it's a piece of me for sure.
Yeah, and like you said, with COVID and all these lockdowns and everything still currently, is there plans like to do any live shows in support of this, or is it you guys?
I'm pretty sure there is from what I'm being told.
Okay.
Obviously now I know Doro's doing some shows in Europe now and some of these beach chair shows, and while I'm vaccinated because I know you'll need that to fly, and so knock on wood, I never really get sick. She's doing some of these shows there now, and but some of Wacken we were supposed to play that got canceled, and I'm waiting to see which ones I fly out for because whenever it says Warlock, I'm always there playing. But on Doro shows I'm bored in, sometimes it's a special guest, or if it's in relation to this album, there's another story, possibly. So I'm waiting now to find out what's up and what doesn't or does not get canceled. So they're looking more to 2022 as far as America, and I know there's already a bunch of festivals because hopefully the world will be at least back on track more. because I know a lot of people are still frying stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm actually literally in the minute of waiting to hear what my agenda is going to be. So I'm pretty much just standing my position fast, as they say in the military.
And so, like, have you guys even started working on the next studio album, or is it just like in talking stages?
Well, Doro has, I know that, and I obviously, she was starting to do that, and I remember I was talking to her, and then suddenly COVID hit, and everything just shifted gears. So I imagine, once COVID levels out and a touring schedule is put together, and she's obviously now in Triumph and Agony Live mode, then she'll pick that up again, and then from that I'm sure I'll hear some information.
Yeah, in fact, the cool thing about it is when I was talking to her, she was telling me kind of like what you're saying is that maybe if COVID had never happened, this album wouldn't be coming out right now. She says because next year's actually the 35th anniversary, but had nothing else to do, so we thought, like, let's do this.
Yeah, well, she definitely had the downtime where she was able to go through, the tapes and her files in Europe and all that stuff. So it definitely presented a weird opportunity. Obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been just surreal. I don't even know how to even describe the lockdown anymore. I mean, it's like. I mean, it was weird maybe a year ago. Now I'm like, what the fuck?
and just when you think things are kind of coming to an end.
Yeah, because I'm in Los Angeles, so now it's like suddenly you got to, I'm from New York, but I'm living in Los Angeles, so it's like now the mask mandate's back. And going to shows, you have to put on a mask. And
welcome to my world. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm from Los Angeles too, and
all right.
And the thing is, like you said, just as we thought we were kind of coming out of this, we get like 2 weeks.
You know what's going on. You're hip to what's going on.
Oh yeah, definitely, and we don't need to really, but I do think it's kind of interesting. I mean, who would have thought, a year or two ago that they could stop people from going to concerts, that they could stop, musicians, and it's funny because they didn't really care. They like.
Oh yeah, they put the brakes on the whole world, more or less.
Yeah, and they really don't give a f, and. Even the governor here, the only thing I'm saying, it's funny, he found a way to keep his winery and all that open, but it is what it is. But thankfully, it's kind of coming back as far as the music.
Hopefully, it'll all come back, and
yeah.
Where this eventually just needs to turn into something where it's like like a flu shot or a flu season, and people aren't dying from this, or there's some herd immunity, or there's enough people vaccinated where. Or just something where the things get kicked back. So it's like, because you're normally going out every winter, and you're going among people who already have the flu.
Yeah.
You don't want to go home and get. I mean, because I know I see things that people have died and this, that, and COVID found some immunity in them they didn't have, and or the thing called long haul is COVID now, which I guess it stays with you for a while.
Yeah.
So it really comes down to that. So. As the handle gets more on this, it'll become more like, okay, it's COVID season. Some people will need a shot if booster is or is not appropriate. I don't know.
Yeah.
People are, jogging that back.
See, that's the thing. Nobody really knows, and they pretend like they do.
Yeah, well, they're riding this as it goes. They're figuring it all out, and obviously, the end game is for people to live. So
of course.
Then it just needs to get into a holding pattern of just as common as the flu, and then at that point the world will be more open. Of course. Whatever happens between now and that point is what is being written as we speak. So,
as they say, the verdict is still out. And before we go,
true.
Like I was curious. You obviously are a Kiss fan. You talked a lot about that. Now, how big of an influence was Ace Frehley's guitar playing on you?
Well, definitely, I dug Ace Frehley's playing. I mean, definitely in that album.
See, that's why I was asking. You look at Ace Frehley, it's playing, it's kind of what it is. He's kind of a sloppy player, but for that band, it works, if you know what I mean. I mean, you're a much more technical player. That's kind of my point.
Well, yeah, but I dig the vibe he lays down, and when he plays those Kiss songs, it's perfect for those, and that, I mean, shit, it's Ace Frehley, holy shit.
Of course, and what's kind of interesting.
He got great harmonics, and some great, used to get that great pinch harmonic, and the way he picks, the way he holds his pick is different, and hearing him do the ending of She or Parasite, and
that's what I was just going to say. Now, if you go back and you check some of those earlier Kiss albums, people will be surprised to find out, like Strange Ways, Parasite. Those are Ace Frehley songs, not,
Yeah, I mean, they're all. I dug his playing. I always.
Yeah.
I liked hearing. When he would go into, a lot of his stuff was very vocal. I dug what he did. He was, running a lot of the pentatonic and blues type stuff, which is very cool. I mean, if I had to pick my favorite guitar players, it'd be, like I said, my brother on the stereo, he came home with the Led Zeppelin records, and I imprinted on Jimmy Page for blues rock. Then I started hearing Deep Purple, and Blackmore was doing more of the exotic stuff, but still blues-based. But he was playing in more harmonic.
Now, I got to ask you real quick about Blackmore. He's one of my favorite guitar players. Now, he's a very interesting cat because if you listen to Deep Purple, a lot of people will be surprised to find out he was really influenced by that neoclassical stuff, and then
that's definitely that's what I call when I say exotic stuff. But then the next guitar player, if I had to pick the top 3, would be Frank Marino.
Oh, wow.
Frank Marino, Mahogany Rush. When I remember Brother Brought That Home record, that's when I heard he took everything, just put it in the blend and hit puree. He raised the energy level in me, and if you see me play, I tend to play kind of fast.
Yeah, yeah.
And I got that energy from him, and like when you hear him do his version of Johnny Be Good, and you hear that first note in the main solo in the middle, and just like the hair on my arm goes up, then he would just be shredding his ass off.
Oh, wow.
I got to see him play live a couple of times when I was a kid back in New York, and he definitely.
Okay, we're gonna call Tommy Bolan back. Hello, Tommy. We disconnected. That's funny. Just as we're getting ready to wrap it up.
Yeah. Well, long story short, Frank, the fact that the energy got into me and just made me want to even take everything I got and just drop the hammer and shred. So I even had 2 guitar teachers. A guy named Vinny Mongaluso back in New York and Mark Newman. Vinny played more of the blues stuff and looked like Ted Nugent when he showed up, and Mark knew all the old cool, really the cool intricate stuff on some of the others. Even though Vinny could play anything.
Yeah, yeah.
He's so can Mark. And and I just took what they took what they taught me. I made a big mess.
Yeah. So what are there any bands like newer bands you're kind of listening to these days, or is it like a lot of us you still kind of just listen to the stuff you grew up on?
It depends on what mood I'm in. I listen to everything.
Do you
I
listen
to a lot of the production value and tones and all that. So I can't say I've been out there scoping out too much new stuff. I hear it. I hear whatever else is hearing pretty much. You know?
Do you have are you a fan of like the thrash bands and all that?
Like what band, what song?
Well, like Megadeth, for example. Let's say even, I don't know, Metallica, Testament, those.
Oh yeah, I like Metallica and all that. The songs everyone hears. I've seen Metallica shows. I remember. I'll tell you a funny story. Metallica came to our show when Warlock played here in Los Angeles.
Oh wow.
And as a whole, pretty much was everybody was at the nuts. The country club was sold out. I remember, they just had Bill talking to a bunch of people, and boy, I'm just dropping names like a motherfucker.
Well, hey, you've been in the business that long, that you can do that.
This is fucking like it's fucking going nuts. But so next thing I know, I'm backstage at my own show, and place is sold out, and everyone's backstage partying. And I remember I'm sitting there against the wall, just relaxing, and this dude walks by me, and then he looks over his shoulder, takes a double take, comes back to me, goes, "You're the guy playing the yellow guitar, right?" I go, "Yeah." And then suddenly, I don't know, I'm Italian, Irish, New York. You ever see like when a grandma, a mom grabs your cheek and pinches it?
Yeah, yeah.
You ever see that?
Yeah.
Suddenly this dude just grabs my cheek and goes, "Nice job."
Wow.
Oh, it's Ehrlich.
Wow. That's amazing.
He grabbed my cheek and goes, "Nice job." I'm like, all right, I guess that's good. It would have been better. At least I didn't get punched. But yeah, so it was, so I listen to everything, dude. Depending on the mood I'm in.
Yeah, yeah.
If I'm working out, it could be anything from, Priest. I'm a big Priest fan. Everything Priest does.
Speaking of Priest, can you believe this is going to be this is the 50th year of Judas Priest?
That's amazing. We played with them at Bloodstock recently, and I actually got to meet Halpin and talk to them for a bit. And I remember, I think my manager helped get them through customs a little quicker because they were behind us on the line.
Amazing.
And my manager goes, "Hey, do you want to meet Rob Halpin?" I go, "Yes."
Yeah.
And he was really cool, and we talked a little bit, and nice guy, and
so
we played up the same festival, Bloodstock.
So great. As far as those two guys, KK and Glenn Tipton, what did you think of their playing when you were coming?
Great guitar players, great. Yeah. You can almost hear each album they get more and more technical with more and more. I wore the grooves out of Screaming for Vengeance. And I always dug the way they phrased and the way they colored off each other, and I definitely got nothing but the most respect for them. And I played. Before I joined Warlock, I was playing in cover bands in all the bars in Los Angeles, New York. Wow. I was playing Priest and all that shit and Dio and all that, and I was playing all that stuff.
And talking about Ronnie James Dio too. It's hard to believe. I just got the reissue this year of Mob Rules and Heaven and Hell. Heaven and Hell is one of my all-time.
Right.
I think it's Ronnie's, maybe in my opinion, best album ever of his career. But one of the best albums ever. And it's kind of interesting. You look at everything he's done from Rainbow, Sabbath, and Dio. Somehow it just kind of all fits together.
Ronnie's a great guy. Ronnie's a very, very cool guy, and I almost wound up in his band.
Yeah, and I heard that story too. And amazing. If you listen to Ronnie's lyrics, he was just a great songwriter.
Oh yeah. He was really good friends with Doro, and it would have been great to see the two of them do a duet. That would have been awesome. Yeah. And you get to tour with him. And it's funny you talk about my name, Tommy Bolan. When I was first introduced to Dio, to Ronnie, my manager said, hey, this is Ronnie, this is Tommy Bolan. He looked at me and he made like the sign of the cross and started backing away from me.
Oh, wow.
Joking, that's a true story.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
He's kidding, but he did that. And he was a super cool dude, man. It's such a shame that he passed so young. He had so much more he could have done.
Well, here's the thing with that, though. He seemed like he passed so young, but, I mean, definitely I think he had a lot more life in him, so to speak, but he was 69, he wasn't that young, but like you look at Ronnie, he definitely did not look his age. Just like I was amazed.
No, I mean, I think he didn't look his age. And just there was more. It was just more. I mean, age is but a number. Give it. Yeah,
you kind of confirmed what a lot of people told me about Ronnie that knew him. I mean, I was interviewing Jeff Pilson once, and he played in Dio for a few years, and he was telling me a story about. One night that they did a great show. I forget where it was, but he says, everybody's leaving the arena, the band's on the tour bus, and everybody has left. It's hours later after the show, and the tour bus is like the last thing to leave the place. And Ronnie happens to notice this one guy is kind of stranded out in the middle of the parking lot, and he tells the bus driver, hey, let's go make sure that guy's all right. And then they find out that the guy's really stranded and pouring down rain. And Ronnie asks the guy, hey, do you need a ride somewhere? And the guy says, yeah. And he goes, get on the bus and I'll have my driver take you wherever you need to go. That
sounds like Ronnie.
And they were saying, the thing about Ronnie, says, you think Ronnie was a great singer and great performer? He was a great human being.
I'll give you a quick footnote to that story. We were playing with Dio somewhere in England.
Yeah.
And we were getting ready for sound check, and there's some kid walking around the place. I think, okay, he must know somebody. He's backstage. He's in the arena. And the kid comes up to me and starts talking. He starts to communicate with me, and he can't talk.
Wow.
I mean, he has a little machine
that
was typing out notes to me, saying how much he loved Triumph and Agony and the album.
Wow. And
the kid couldn't speak, and I'm like, I was heartbroken. I go, holy shit. I go, you wake up and you can bitch about all your problems. This poor guy can't.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then he asked me, Tommy, could you introduce me to Dio? Could I meet Ronnie? And I go, well. I go, look, I said, I can't promise that. I can try. But Ronnie's a great guy, so I can't promise that. That's not my position to do. But so I said, but I'll look for you later. I'll do. So suddenly, the show's over. Dio's done. We're done. And there's this whole really long hallway, and there's people sectioned off, where the security is, and it goes all the way down a long hallway to a door. So I walk backstage, and I talk to Ronnie. I go, look, there's this kid out there. He can't speak. He goes, what do you mean? I go, he can't speak. He has a little machine. He goes, he really would like to meet you. He goes, could you take a few seconds? He was here before. He goes, all right, sure, Tommy, bring him back.
Wow.
And so I walk down, start walking towards him with security. I go, look, give me that guy right there, because he's hanging over the edge of the rail. I have a semi-photographic memory. I can see this picture in my mind.
Wow.
So I can still see this as clear as yesterday. And I go up to him and I go, come on. I go, Ronnie wants to meet you. And the kid's eyes start to well up like saucers, and he actually starts to tear up, and I see him shaking.
Wow.
And, so I bring him back and I go, Ronnie, this is, I'm sorry, I do forget his name. I go, Ronnie, this is so-and-so. And Ronnie is nothing but a sweetheart to him, and the kid is like, he's crying, looking, he's thanking, and he's lost his mind. He's met his hero, Ronnie, and Ronnie, what did it take? Ronnie 5 seconds? Just a moment to ask somebody something, and I would imagine this guy probably still remembers that,
Oh, sure.
He's alive, I'm sure he is, So what did it take me? 5 seconds? The poor guy can't even speak. And Ronnie was the sweetest guy in the world. Everyone's trying to pull Ronnie in 10 different directions backstage.
Yeah, another thing I heard about Ronnie is like he'd have encounters like that, and Sean Peck, the singer from Deaf Dealer and Cage, he told me that him and Ronnie were friends. Of course, they knew each other, but he said he'd say every time I'd see Ronnie, he remembered my name, and he said Ronnie would meet people on the road, and he'd see these weren't people that he saw every day, but he'd see them like maybe a year later at the next show or something, and he'd remember those people's names that he met the year before.
Yeah, Doro's like that with a lot of people. I've seen that happen, and people flip out that she remembers them. But I kind of pull that sometimes too. Sometimes you're like, you can't help but blank. It depends on how you meet them and what circumstance. But I've heard that about Ronnie as well.
You ever been in that situation where somebody, not even just a fan, somebody that you really kind of encountered in life, somebody you known, and they come up to you and you're like, and they're like, hey, how you doing, Tommy? And you're like, do I know you?
Oh yeah, I've had that happen occasionally. It's kind of weird that something got validated. One time, I remember this is right after Warlock.
Yeah.
My phone rings at my house, and suddenly the guy on the phone goes, "Hey Tommy, this is Richard." I go,
"Hey Richard."
He goes, "How you doing, man?" I go, "Richard." Goes, "What the fuck is this?" And then suddenly he goes, "Tommy, it's Richard Sanders." I go,
"Oh hi."
He goes, "The manager of White Lion." I go, "Oh, because he married our manager's secretary."
Oh wow, yeah.
So I'm like, he's calling me at home because he had somebody he wanted me to jam with and play with and talk to, and he was calling me in my home because and for a second I blanked out who he was.
Yeah, because I can relate to that. I had this kid when I was in high school. He'd always come up to me and like I knew him from somewhere. I never found out, and I was too embarrassed to say, "Who the hell are you?" You know. But
that's an episode of King of Queens. If you watch that one, Doug Heffernan runs into that guy in the supermarket during Thanksgiving, and the guy's talking like he knows everything about him. Hey, you know.
Yeah. That's exactly it. Hey, how you doing? You know.
It does happen, no doubt about it. But obviously, you know, either clear it up right away, or it becomes that thing, or it goes away, or or maybe you remember, or maybe there's a reason why you don't remember that person.
Yeah.
Maybe they kissed in your Cheerios. Or who the fuck knows? You know, I mean, it could be any number of problems. You know.
And so Tommy, you mentioned that you were you once gave guitar lessons. Do you still do that from time to time, or?
Actually, no. I taught guitar for 5 years up until the time I
got the
joined. Right till I joined Warlock, I taught at a music studio in Jackson Heights, Queens, called Larry Downs.
And here's
in fact, if you look at my Warlock, in the old Warlock pictures of me in all the video and the album things, I'm wearing the Larry Downs T-shirt.
Oh wow, okay.
Shameless promotion. That's where I used to work, and they were like family to me.
Wow.
It was Larry and Lisa. Lisa has since passed away, but Larry's still back in New York. I've not talked to him in a while, and I grew up in that store. I mean, I started taking lessons there, and after 2.5 years of lessons, I became a teacher. Wow. I had like 40 or so students, and actually one of my students, this guy Ronnie, he went on to teach there after me, and some of the other students I taught as well. You know, and I'm still friends with some of my students. I talk on Facebook and all this stuff, and Instagram, and they find you and all this stuff. Everyone can find anybody now.
Have you had any of those former students ever come and catch you play live? But you know,
well, they used to come to my shows and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And, they were at my Warlock shows. I remember seeing some of my students in the front row freaking out.
Oh, that's cool.
And they were cool dudes, and I still remain friends with all of them. And I did put a DVD out, but you can get it at Alfred.
I was going to ask about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Tommy Bolan Metal Primer. I did this a few years ago. If you go to alfred.com, you can search my name and you'll find it. Or even on my Instagram, there's a screen capture of it. Boy, now I'm just selling the used car.
Well, there you go. That's what this is all about, because
I'm proud of the video I did.
Yeah.
I mean, they did videos, I think, with also Eddie Oeda, Rudy Sarzo, Eric Singer.
Wow.
Now I'm just dropping names like fucking ice cubes on the floor here. But but it's a good video. It's really cool. It's some cool stuff in that. And I also do a whole section on all the equipment, the endorser stuff I use. I talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of that video. I like it. It's on. There's clips of it here and there on YouTube and stuff like that.
And you probably don't have the time, but have you ever given any thought to maybe down the line, like doing any online instructional videos?
I honestly don't really have the time.
Yeah.
I just really I don't have as much time to do that, and it takes a lot out of you to do sometimes. I mean, some people do that and just maybe someday it's possible. I know people have asked me, that or Skype lessons or this or that, or and when I did a guitar clinic once, I remember. I was down there and I had the day off the next day, and the guy had a whole. That's when I was telling you about that, big clinic I did. And, And the owner of the studio was so cool, and he said, "Hey, some people want to take lessons and this and that." And I said, I had the next day off, and because he was so cool, I said, "All right." And, he threw some cash in the mix, which is always good because everyone's got to keep their lights on.
Of course, yeah.
But I did it then. That was probably the last time I probably did it. And that was a while ago, but just there hasn't been as much time.
Of course, and I was just going to say. That's kind of a good problem to have, the fact that I don't have a lot of time to do too many other things, because I got this main gig with Warlock, and I think the more and more you start to do more shows with now is it being billed as Warlock when you guys go out?
Well, that's an interesting thing. I'm not sure yet. Usually, because Doro had lost the name for a while, so. Usually when it's billed as Warlock, that guarantees you'll see the entire Triumph and Agony set, and that means I'll be part of that curriculum. Sometimes it's just billed as Doro. In this case, it's Doro with Warlock, Triumph, and Agony. So I guess that's really comes down to certain gigs depending how the promoters phase it on in. So either way, it'll be over the top and something to see.
And final question for you, if you can believe it or not, Tommy. Do you think more you get out there with Doro? That you might do some more of these guitar clinics on the road?
That That's always possible. Matter of fact, the last U.S. Matter of fact, it's funny you mentioned the last U.S. tour, which got canceled by COVID, was supposed to stop in Chicago, which is the home city of Morley. You know, and we were talking about doing a clinic or doing something, and then also with U.S. Dates, I was talking to Morley about, you know, and other companies about doing. It really comes down to the schedule. First, I get the schedule, and then I see, okay, I got an off day here. I got time to do this because, you know, a clinic takes X amount of time or, you know, preparation, and, you know, so it really depends. I can do a clinic on the same day as a show or the day after.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
so,
depends.
but no, it's not. I'm definitely not against doing clinics which mirror into tour dates and such. I mean, once I know my tour dates, then I analyze that like a military thing, to be honest.
Oh yeah, and
because when my band NYC would tour the whole nation, I mean, I was doing clinics in all these cities that Morley had set up. They would, you know, and then it would be all locked and loaded. I'd show up, it'd be ready, good to go, and then I'd be playing like that night or the next night.
So once you guys start doing more live shows, there are plans to kind of bring the show to the U.S., right?
Absolutely, 2022 is the word I'm hearing now. Oh,
that's great. Well, Tommy, I'm definitely going to keep your number. We will keep in touch, and I'll tell you what, my new friend, anytime you have anything to promote, I want to be the guy to kind of help you spread the love, if you know what I mean.
Cool, man. I appreciate that, dude. That's very cool, Jason. I appreciate it, buddy.
Okay, so the interview we did, it's going to go up like in about maybe 2 weeks. I'll send you a quick message, let you know the minute it gets posted, and then feel free to post on any of your sites, okay?
Oh yeah, I definitely will. Definitely will post that, no doubt about it. I'll put a link right to what you got, and you got that photo of me you can use, or if any photo. Bye bye.